otherwise we're talking to ourselves. But this is a test, and I'd like to thank my colleague, Rick Notary, who we're going to chat with in a minute, and my brother, Connor McGuigan, who many of you know is one of our local artists. He will be on in a little bit. But we are starting a new series next Wednesday called Lackawanna County Arts and Culture Live, and we're going to be bringing on artists and speakers in all disciplines. So this is a little test run to make sure it's working, our streaming service is working. So, all right, so let's get started. So welcome, Rick.
All right. Well, thanks, Maureen. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
the test drive.
Yeah, and again, I hope something is happening. I have a couple guinea pigs out there watching. I don't necessarily see it on my Facebook page, but well, you know what? If it didn't work, we'll try it again. You and I will chat. I don't know why. Well, I'm not going to worry about it since this is short. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and the department?
All right, Maureen. Well, my title officially is Community Outreach Manager for Lackawanna County. And what I do is I act as a liaison between the commissioners and the outside world and pretty much the public. Any questions that people send to us, any information that maybe some of our municipalities may need, I aid in that and getting the word out. So during this pandemic, really things have really changed. I really manage social media more than ever. We try to get as much information out there on the county Facebook page and on the county Twitter feed, information that could help people, businesses, just the general population of Lackawanna County and how to combat this COVID-19 virus and try to help them stay safe.
Yeah, it's so important. I think we're all trying to pivot a little bit. That's one of the reasons we're starting this online series. And if people need to contact you, is there a way they can?
They could contact me. Email is probably the best way. That way I always have access to email. It's my last name, Notary, Notari, and then the letter R at LackawannaCounty.org. There's also a link to my phone, which I should know off the top of my head, but I don't. If they call the main number, they get 570-963-6800, and my extension is 1874. But you could find us, find the commissioner's office online at LackawannaCounty.org for all information. So the site really is, the website has been really a tremendous help, I think, to the public, and we really have a ton of information on there concerning this pandemic, and everything you need to know is on our website.
What kind of, are you getting any standout? Like, what are the most kinds of questions people are asking you?
I think a lot of questions, especially coming from the municipalities, are there cases in their municipalities? Have there been deaths in their municipalities? And we haven't had those numbers in the commissioner's office. At least I haven't been privy to them. I don't believe the commissioners have as well. I know the coroner, Tim Rowland, has been fighting for true data to be listed with the state. I've reached out a couple times to see if we can get some of those numbers, but they're just fluctuating so much during the day that there's really not solid numbers for each municipality in terms of deaths, at least broken down that way. So
yeah, I think that's what's scary right now. And I know northeastern PA is high, so we may be on the homestay for a while, you know.
It sure looks that way. And people are getting frustrated. Obviously, people that are out of work or businesses that have been forced to shut down, and we try to point them in the right direction if they reach out for some information or with their frustrations, and whether that's information from the state or from the federal government. We're there to help the citizens, the residents of Lackawanna County. So any questions at all, we'll find an answer. Sometimes it's not the answer that people want, but we'll get you an answer.
Yeah, I think that's what's hard. I mean, safe and safety and health first, but
Hmm.
our economy is something that I think is also, of course, weighing on people's minds. And one thing we tried to do with the arts and culture department, because so many of our arts organizations, small business, creative businesses, and individuals have so many financial challenges. So we were trying to help them understand the CARES Act and all of that. So are you seeing any of that? Are people worried, or are they adjusting?
I think it's a little of both. I think worried and adjusting. I haven't had personally anybody reach out to try to decipher that act, and it is somewhat confusing. But I know we have tried to put people in touch with our state representatives and our state senator in terms of helping them manage their way through this crisis.
Yeah, I think what sometimes we don't want to hear things, but I think if we can all stay together, and I think that's been nice on social media. We've seen a lot of positive creativity, whether it's like what you're doing to get information out there, or people just putting up positive things and doing their own art. We've seen a lot of people doing the Facebook Live programs and sharing information. So I think that's
Yeah,
very
yeah, it's great. I mean, just the performers that have been on Facebook Live trying to take people's minds off it, even if it's for a half an hour, playing their gigs because everything's been canceled. And I don't think people realize a lot of those performers, that's their job. That's their ends meet. So
yeah,
it's devastating to everybody.
it's a good word.
Yeah,
Now you're from Old Forge, right?
correct.
So I know a lot of places are doing takeout, and I don't want to put you on the spot or get you in trouble, but you have a lot of great restaurants down there. Are they all doing? Can you mention any that are
They
doing
are
takeout?
all of the restaurants in town are doing takeout, curbside pickup, I believe.
Yeah.
So just on Main Street alone, Ravillo's and Cusamanos, Arcaro and Janelle's, Cafe Rinaldi, Anthony's,
Mm.
Dooley's on Oak Street, Salerno's down on Music Road. So everybody, I believe, is open most of the time. Some of the businesses have different hours. They might only be open 4 or 5 hours at night. Some of them have only been open
Yeah.
Thursday to Sunday, or Wednesday to Sunday, or even the weekend. But most of them, I think, Cafe Rinaldi, Ravillo's, Salerno's, or Carol Janelle's, I think they've been open 6, 7 days a week.
Well, that's good to know. I'm getting hungry just listening to you.
Yeah,
I think a
yeah,
lot of places are doing that. I know I've gotten some takeout. That's one thing I miss. I used to like to, have lunch meetings, or just be out in
sure.
the community visiting people. So that's been a little hard. How are you adjusting to working at home?
It's been different actually. I'm saving some money because
Yes.
typically lunch was every day at work was have
Right.
something delivered and order something out, and I kind of feel bad sometimes, for those businesses because I've stopped doing that, and not anything against the businesses or the workers, but I'm more afraid of who those people have come in contact with, not necessarily them, and you just try to be as careful as possible. Um, Hey, you glove up, you mask up, you use the Purell and the wipes, and you just do the best you can.
Yeah, well said. Anything else, that you'd like to share?
No,
Or
I don't think so. I people are a little disappointed. I think that our parks have been closed.
yeah,
But I think what people need to realize as well is we're not only protecting our workers, but we've taken those steps to protect the residents so they don't, congregate in large groups. A lot of people are disappointed they can't walk through the parks or bike through the parks, but it's easy to walk down, head out to your sidewalk and take a walk around your neighborhood. It's kind of the same thing as going out in the parks. And we realize people are disappointed, but it's the world we're at right now, and hopefully sooner than later we'll be able to reopen the parks and get everything back to normal in Lackawanna County.
I know I have a lot of mountain bike friends that were asking me, and I'm like, well, I think it is better to err on the side of caution, and like you said, maybe find other ways. I know I got on my bike, took a ride down to Pittston when we actually had nice weather. Not
Hmm.
so bad. So
Yeah, it's tough, and I think everybody understands everybody's point of view, but tough decisions need to be made sometimes.
it is nice to see people walking and doing kind of old fashioned things. I know jigsaw puzzles I heard on NPR were sold out because people are doing more of that. So
Yeah, I
not
know
that it's good, but
my two nieces have been really working on puzzles more than ever. So
oh, cute. Yeah.
yeah, it's keeping them busy.
So, I mean, it's not good that we're forced to do this, but I think you have to look for the bright spots and maybe we'll carry some of that, when we get out of this, that's sort of slowing down and
That's a
connecting.
great hope.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, all right.
Okay.
We're gonna bring our next guest in. Appreciate your time. I know you have a lot to do to get the information out and
Absolutely.
you. And what's your email again, just in case people
Uh,
want
it is notarir@lackawannacounty.org.
Okay, great, Rick. Well,
All right.
stay safe and healthy and
Thanks, Maureen. You too.
great day. Okay.
All right. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Our next guest is Connor McGuigan, my brother. Okay, on the person. I think his video is off. Connor, are you there? Maybe. This is why it's a test. We're gonna see if he comes on, but okay, there I am. Well, anyway, again, this test run, if anybody is watching, hopefully it's broadcasting somewhere, but I've been known to talk to myself. So, yeah, again, we may have to do this test again, but well, let me see. I'm going to try to admit my brother again. One thing we've been trying to really do is learn a lot of new technologies. Let's see, we're still having, he's connecting to audio. Okay.
Hi.
Are you there? We can't see
Can
you.
you see me?
No, it says your video camera's not.
My computer literally just shut off right before. So.
There you are. That's okay. We may not even be talking to anyone.
That's true. Yeah. It's all right.
We had our dad, Jack McGuigan. This is a family affair today.
Oh.
He is supposed to be on YouTube, but I just got a text that he's not, or something happened.
Well,
so
probably has a squirrel in the cage or out back or something.
Actually, this will be a good chance to try the how I get you on the person.
I had to wear a hat because my hair's stupid.
Well, look at me. I'm wearing the Scran Man shirt. Oh, there's both of us.
And I'm wearing the Danny shirt.
Oh my God, it's Connor McGuigan shirt day. For those of you, we're going to talk about that interview. I have no idea what I look like. This is like comedy hour. I'm trying to figure out. Oh, there we go. I'm going to do an experiment here.
Gallery view?
Well, no, I'll do pin video. I don't want to do that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know what's happening here. We might not be able to
okay.
Speaker view. Maybe there's a gallery view.
Yeah, gallery view is you could see.
I wonder if you're big on screen. I wish I could see this, but anyway, let's do a little chat here.
Okay. Yes.
So, how are you? This is my little brother. For those of you who don't know.
Hi.
It's not nepotism because he actually is an artist.
Sort of, yeah. Yeah.
I picked him because he would be patient in case this is not.
I'm whatever you need to do. You let me know.
What is this saying?
What?
I think it's working. So why don't you tell us a little? I have some.
It says live on my end.
Okay, good.
I don't know if that means anything, but.
We didn't tell too many people. So if you're one of the lucky ones, oh look, your hair looks fantastic. It's a little David Byrne.
It's a mop.
It's good. Start singing Stop Making Sense. Why don't you tell us who Hank is before we get started here?
Hank is right there sleeping. That's what he does. And yeah, I got this hat for Jess for a present, but I end up wearing it more than her. I have some trivia questions. Do you want to try a trivia question?
Yes, let's try a trivia question. And I think I know what I did wrong. I
What?
think you need to have three
You
people.
fix it first, whatever you got.
Well, I don't know if I could fix it, but you do the trivia questions and I'll see if
Okay.
Yeah.
In what sport do you use a wicket? Anybody? The answer is cricket. You use a wicket in cricket. Angus Young is a founding member of what rock band? Come on, you Rock 107 guys out there. It's AC/DC. AC/DC is the answer. What animal is the unicorn of the sea?
Oh, I know that one.
What's that, Rain?
Is it the seahorse?
No.
Oh,
good guess though, because there's a horse and unicorns are horses. A narwhal.
Oh, they're like dolphins, right?
It's got the one horn coming out, which is actually a giant tooth. Who won Best Actress for Blue Jasmine in 2013? And Best Supporting Actress for Aviator in 2004? Cate Blanchett. Who was Time's Person of the Century last century? At the end of the century, they had a Person of the Century. Anybody guess? Anybody? I'm looking around. You? Hank, answers?
Okay, I see.
He's licking his genitals. Einstein, Mr. Albert Einstein. What was the subheading of the second Mad Max movie? Actually, this was the title. It was released in the United States. This is deep cut. This is for you out there who enjoy the Mad Max films. I do. Even the Tina Turner one. Road Warrior. The Road Warrior. I got two more here for you.
Okay.
The University of Hawaii is known as what? You know, we have the University of Scranton Royals. Well, they are the University of Hawaii what? One of my favorite school names of all time. The Rainbow Warriors. And last one, the capital, or Edmonton, is the capital of what province in Canada? Alberta. It's Alberta. And see, what I did there is they spell all those letters going down of each answer, spell a world capital. And when I do my quiz, then you look at that and it spells Canberra, which is the capital of anybody. What's Canberra the capital of?
I know this one. I'll get Australia.
Australia. It's the capital of Australia. One of those lesser known capitals. I mean, not to Australians, obviously, but to the rest of the world, everybody thinks Sydney is the. And for an extra bonus, there's 4 questions in there. The answers have something to do with Australia. AC/DC is an Australian band. Cate Blanchett is from Australia. Cricket is a very popular sport in Australia. And the Road Warrior, of course. All the Mad Max movies are Australian films. So that's an example of my trivia that I do on the Bog Instagram page live every Monday at 8 o'clock. Dad, if you're watching.
Talk a little bit about that. It's not that I'm not paying.
No, Rain, you do your thing.
I'm really big on effective, attentive listening skills.
Yeah, it's okay. You're figuring out your stuff.
So you do trivia night.
I do trivia on Mondays on Instagram at the Bog Live. And then for realsies, when things go back to normal on Mondays at 10, which is a late trivia. That's true.
How are you surviving? I mean, it's like we were talking a little bit with Rick before, my colleague. It's just devastating to everybody, but I know because I work with so many artists and arts organizations and other cultural institutions, I think it's a sector that as a whole is being hit really hard because it's always kind of a struggle to support yourself as
right. Most artists are struggling even when there is work.
Right. So I feel like
I
don't
know.
Artists are in the service industry, so you also worked in that.
I mean that's tough. I mean, it's great to see like a lot of restaurants are still finding ways to make their money. Like I was up Russell's and they have people like running the to-go orders and stuff like that. And somebody told me I think Market Street Grill is using the waiters and waitresses as delivery drivers. They're doing their own deliveries, which is a smart way of keeping the staff, still involved. So yeah, I mean, I'm hanging tight. I don't know. I've got my dog. Where'd he go, by the way? I thought he was going to join me on the couch. Jess is doing clients in the other room. She has her whole computer set up. I think I went to go visit her. What else?
Yeah, sorry. Maybe I put the thing in the wrong. Well, if you tap on the link to join me.
I'm almost done with my antibiotics. That's some news. For my Lyme's disease. So, fingers crossed.
Well, you know what? One of the things I wanted to talk about is how people become artists. I mean, you're an actor. You also, as we could see, was a designer. And because we're related, I think in some ways, well, in a lot of ways, we grew up in a creative household. Like the emphasis not necessarily put on earning money, security, or any other kind of practical thing. So I mean, in a lot of, we're very lucky because I think both of you and I have gotten to express yourself. So do you want to talk a little bit about how, like, what it was like growing up? And
yeah, I mean, I always say we had poetry books in the bathroom. I mean, and as little kids, you just absorb stuff. So I mean, but when you're going to the bathroom and you pick up, and I don't know who these people, I don't know who Basho is. I don't know who Seamus Haney is or Patrick Kavanaugh, but I'm a little kid. I'm like, well, I'll read this, yeah. So I'd absorb stuff like that. Mom was always very supportive, taking us to all sorts of music. I mean, she took me to Les Mis as a kid. Mom was always into musicals. And Dad was the poetry. But Dad took me to my first audition. I didn't know anything about auditions or theater, but I was 13 years old. He took me to an audition for the competition play. Remember that? Remember the speech and debate? They had a competition play where you had to have 40 minutes, like put the set up and take it down and do the play. It's a bizarre thing. But yeah, I was 13 years old. I went over. I got the part. All thanks to Dad.
I know, it was good. And you and I did a lot of fun games.
Yeah, we did Possessed Boy, where I would pretend to be possessed, and then you would heal me. Also, the game where if I read the book about the Bigfoot, I would turn into a werewolf or something like that. I'd turn into a feral animal-like thing, and then you couldn't let me read the book. Then Runaway Slaves, we played Runaway Slaves, which is, I mean, I guess it was the early.
You and I were very into history, and I think things I like.
Well, anything you want to do, I followed. So
we also grew up because equity and diversity and inclusion is now such an important part of what I do. Because I think we also grew up.
Right.
We did look at other cultures and their history.
Yeah, I mean, like Runaway Slaves, we literally, you just played characters who were trying to get to the Caribbean. I remember. Which is bizarre. I know this sounds bizarre.
You're mixing that up with the musical about the Rio Grande, I think.
I forgot about that one.
No, I did turn the upstairs hallway into a Caribbean island.
Oh, okay.
For like the early settlers, but no, the slave one was American history, but the Rio Grande one, I was always interested in sort of the plight of immigration and the tension always between that. So it was people.
How old were you? 10? I mean, I was like 4 or 5. You were like 9 or 10.
Yeah, and then the other one was
because that's the thing. You always had these grand ideas. I was fascinated. You knew so much about hairstyle. I didn't know any of this. I like Star Wars and things, and you.
No, amazing. You do one of your Bugs Bunny things. You always had those
facts about Bugs Bunny, or
yes.
I don't know. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
How did that influence you?
Bugs Bunny. I know so many World War II songs from Bugs Bunny, and classical music. Of course, everybody gets the classical music, and also references. Like the other day, actually, I rewatched this one from 1904. I think it was a World War II era one. But anyway, it was like Hollywood's Night Out, and it was a spoof, and like Clark Gable's in it, and the Marx Brothers, but all these other celebrities that I didn't know. Big names at the time, and then still some are still big, but like Fred McMurray was in it. Like people don't talk about him now, people like that. But I ended up as a 10-year-old, I knew who Walter Winchell was, which, you know, I was fascinated. I wanted to know more about it. I would remember going to ask mom and dad, like, who this person they were spoofing was in cartoons. So I would just absorb them. And Ted Turner bought the rights to that, so he would play the same ones every day. And I would sit in the living room every day and just watch the same ones. So I just got to memorize them. Yeah, so they're all up here.
Oh, I think I'm getting some progress, but
Oh, good.
let's see. Sorry.
Hey, do whatever you gotta do. It's all right.
What else could we talk about?
Oh, I don't know. Let's
Oh,
see.
but you have worked for the county, again, because of your talent, not because you're my brother. We take transparency and fairness very seriously.
Yeah.
But you are very talented, and you actually have performed with the Scranton Shakespeare Festival, which is one of the groups that we fund.
Yeah, unfortunately, they have to
I know.
change it up this year, but they're doing recorded versions of everything. So I will still be playing. Yeah.
Are you part of it this year?
Yeah, I'll be taking part this year in recorded versions of some of the plays. So.
Well, I think that's creative. I mean, part of we're getting a lot, or we had a lot of wonderful project grants that were announced in February, and who knew this was going to happen? So a lot of them, unfortunately, either have to postpone or even cancel, but some are trying to adapt. So, you know, I know some of our other organizations like the Everhard and the Creative and Performing Arts Academy are going to like online classrooms trying to, see people sort of adapt. So at least we'll get, I mean, there's nothing like live theater, but at least we'll get a taste.
No, at least there's something, exactly. At least there's something. Yeah, it's just crazy. I had a lot of, I was going to be in Stones in His Pockets. They had to cancel that.
Oh, right. I hope that gets done. That's
there's talk. Yeah, they want to do it again. I think in the fall. We'll see. I don't know what the schedule's like over at Diva, but I'd like to. I mean, I was off book. We made a lot of work. We only had like another week to go till opening. There was something else. The half marathon. I was going to announce the half marathon.
Oh yeah, I know. That's always fun. You do a great job. It's a hard job. Lots of runners and lots of names.
Yeah. Oh God, the names. What's HTC 10? Is that somebody joining it?
For those of you who are trying to learn Zoom, if you want to do a spotlight, which hopefully you'll get rid of my face in a second, we'll just hear some performance. You have to have 3 participants. So I've made a fake party.
Oh, very clever. See, she's smart.
I don't know if I should admit that, but so now I should be. Oh, here we go. Okay. The spotlight is coming up. But first, I'm going to practice screen share.
Screen share. Let's all do it.
So I went through my old photos today. Connor and I are very close. Like we said, we grew up doing artsy things. Oh, but in our adult life, I should have shared. Connor's always been. I always somehow involve you.
And I'm thankful for it.
So before I worked for the county in 2006, when the department was still pretty new, I applied for a project grant. And I've always been fascinated by Pennsylvania history. And I love folklore and what we call social history. So I had been reading about these wonderful folk tales that just were kind of sitting in books that no one really knew about, some from our coal mining culture, Lanai Lenape, some of our early Native American population, the Germans. So I scripted them, but they were kind of boring, like just when they're on the page. So I asked my brother to direct, and what was born out of this was Rainbow Crow and other folk tales, which we're talking about bringing back next year. And I can't, it was a big hit, and I'm not saying that because I wrote it. It was actually my brother in the cast. I'll give them a shout out.
It was conglomerate, you and me and everybody. It all came together.
One of my favorite projects. So there were puppets, and it was good for all ages. It was amazing to see adults and kids laughing. And
and it aired. Mark Migliore filmed it and put it on the local.
If you stumbled home one night at 3 a.m.
So many people, because they played it all the time. So many people would be like, I came home at 3 a.m. and I saw you with some puppets and some guy in a weird suit. And it was funny because it was filmed in the bank building in Southside, which has like the worst acoustics because it's all marble
No.
and columns. But people still, I mean, people still got, I mean, you could hear it.
That's why we want to redo it. I'd like to get a better recording because I think it's
Yeah.
something people could also enjoy online. What was your process in that? Like, I could never do that.
I remember you lived over in Greenwich at the time. I remember going over to your house and you had your computer. I didn't have a computer, so you had it on your computer, and I just did some edits. And so like you had sections that just said narrator, and it would be like a
Right.
paragraph, and I would just I turned it into that character Leonard Katekeski, so it had a little flavor. And then some of the narration I gave characters to, or I split to some of the characters you had, or something like that. And then we printed it. And then, yeah, you would just let me into that to the bank building. There was somebody else using it who was so particular about that closet in the back. I remember it was bizarre. But yeah, and then the actors, like at one point, God appears to Rainbow Crow. There's a God, and I put George Thomas in a big cloud head. But then they found a lamp backstage, and they just had a lamp come up, like this giant floor lamp. And I'm like, that's hilarious. And it was like a lot of things like that came out. All these.
Yeah, it was very collaborative. In fact, I have to give a shout out to Sarah Satura Reagan and Maggie O'Brien. In fact, I'd love to bring them on. They played two characters, Jill and Irene.
They still call each other Jill and Irene to this day.
Yeah, so they would come in and out with just short pieces, like it's bad luck to kill an albino deer in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we're going to tell you about the albino deers.
Right, and then the one of my
who doesn't remember the
bake ovens? That's a cool one. There's a great little book that I don't think is well known enough by George Corson. Usually folklore is from rural areas, but this is industrial folklore. So that story came from that, about the Irish
right, the immigrants
towns, and there was only one bake oven, and so it's this kind of funny story about these two women.
It was a Dublin dance show.
Oh, that's right, because she wants to go to the Dublin dance show.
Dublin dance show, yeah.
She like, so
she has to wait her turn for the bake oven or something like that. She throws it on the ground. Yeah.
So then we also did the garment industry play.
The garment industry play again with Sarah.
Well, I called you last summer for some help with the technical thing at the.
What?
We could go outside for the Lackawanna Arts Fest. Remember, I had the dancers, and I was trying to get on my phone.
Yeah.
Connor's always good for. So let me see if I can share these photos. This is going to give us like sort of a timeline. Let's see. Oh, wait, okay. Bear with me. I'm going to try to. Okay, tell me if this comes up. Is that up?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, this isn't a good one to use because you look in pain.
I'm having a great time. I look like a grape that's being squished.
That's a terrible font. I didn't have many. A lot of our albums are at my parents' house, so I have to go.
I look like a dry boil on somebody's butt. Whoa, wow. I am not happy, but you look very pleased. I think you're pleased because I'm crying, probably.
When I was 4, I was a little jealous, but luckily we became closer.
Look at that macrame work in the background.
I remember the macrame.
Look at that brown couch.
Let's try it. So that's the beginning. And here are, wait, stop. Okay, well, if I pause it, this is really interesting. I don't know. I don't want to stop it. Well, new share. Okay. Oh, wait. Okay, let's see. This is teenage year. Well, maybe middle school years. Did that come up?
I don't see. No, it's still my horrible.
Oh, okay. Stop share. This is why we're practicing.
Practice.
Let's see if this comes up. All right, let's try again.
Hey! Oh, wow! Wow! Look at that St. Jude's. That's a St. Jude's Mathathon shirt. Oh, I would kill for that right now.
Shirt.
The Ireland shirt. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that hair ring. What are you doing there?
That's like 8th grade, maybe height
concert. You're gonna check out a Petra show.
Yep.
That's crazy. Going to Warrant. You're gonna check out some Warrant, maybe cherry pie.
Warrant. Well, here's the pause. I can pause share, so now it should stay there while I'm getting the last picture. Is us actually a year ago in April was my birthday party at the 16th Ward, one of my favorite, our family's favorite spots. it's a little sad this year we can't. And my friends put together a nice party. We had a lot of people
Yeah,
there.
yeah. That's right.
Was really grateful. And like I said, I love how the downtown, we're gonna make it, but
We will.
Penn
It's gonna
Avenue.
be tough, but
Yeah. So if you can, please do the takeout, the curbside pickup. Check out the local shops. They're still selling stuff online. So you still need to buy birthday gifts. There's
yeah,
all
it's your
kinds of
birthday
prices
next
out.
week. I gotta.
Yes. Hint, hint. No, I'm
Oh, I was
kidding.
gonna say.
So this picture, let's see. Oh, let's see. Okay, stop share. Okay. Let's see if this comes up.
St. Jude, man. Oh, I hated those mathathon things. I hated them so much. I would just copy the answers out of the book. You went around to the
People. Let me get rid of
I'd go around the alley in Southside and be like, if you give me $5, I'll do these math. Like, it was like such a weird thing.
Okay. Oops.
No, I went back to the thing.
No. Okay. We don't want to look at teenage me anymore.
I was enjoying the hair.
Let me see. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. Let me see if I open this. And then I was just doing this so perfectly.
Well,
All right.
sophomore.
This is the last one. This is adult kids. Did it come up?
Are you in that picture? Because I only see me.
Oh. Oh, I know, because I slid it here.
Oh. Hey, there you are.
Yeah, so that's at the 16th ward, almost 1 year ago. So
wow.
Forever.
I can't wait to go back there and have a Manhattan.
I know, they do make a good cocktail.
I have bourbon in the house, but we have like no bitters or cherries or anything.
Yeah.
It's really hard being me. I can't get the Manhattan I want. I'm trapped. Middle-aged white man. I'm so oppressed.
It is kind of funny though that people do enjoy. It's a tough time. So now that
it is tough. Yeah.
No, I just say people like having something to sip on.
Absolutely. I was saying like when this all gets done, I mean, the ability to have a draft beer somewhere, it's gonna be monumental. People are gonna be freaking out. It's gonna be like parade day and Halloween and New Year's. And parties are all in one. People are just gonna be they're gonna be walking into stores for the sake of being able to walk into stores.
Yeah, I know it is hard. I hope, I think people can get through it, but like you said, you're Jess McDonough's a therapist and we really need them. They're on the front lines too, trying to help people,
I know. I mean, she's in the office all day and everybody, most of her talks are about
classes.
Yeah, I mean, it is tough. I mean, I'm lucky because Jess and I are close friends and close friends. We're dating. I'm just saying we're very close and easy.
Yeah, I know. Being stuck
and I have my pets and I take them hiking, so I do get out and I go to the woods. Other people are trapped in small apartments by themselves and are really stuck. It is a real thing.
Speaking of pets, Danny is why don't you stand up again and show, this is Connor's very talented visually as well. This is my cat, Danny, that we call the little gentleman. And he did a sketch, I think for my birthday or somehow.
Yeah, I think it was your birthday.
So I just love his work. So a couple years ago, we made some shirts. Oh, the one
that's all you. See, you're the administrator. I would never make a shirt because I'm lousy.
Yeah, but you got all the art genes. You're like triple.
That's not true. You got the.
No, I can only write and fill out forms.
You're a tremendous writer.
No, so one final thing before we go to your performance, I'm going to use the spotlight feature.
Wait, I have a performance? Oh, I blew it with the trivia. That was my performance.
Okay.
I thought that was it. Oh, nuts.
Okay. Well, no, you know what? I want you to talk about, we'll just use this as the spotlight because really I'm only trying to practice. But this, for many of you who probably know, Scran Man, is become a very popular figure all over the world, really. Hey, there was a woman in Italy watching you last year.
In the thing, you can see where like people are watching it. And yeah, there's like somebody in Brazil was watching it, somebody in London. So yeah.
What I like about that character, there's something called creative placemaking in the work that I do. And that simply means it's kind of a fancy word for just celebrating where you live and reinventing it. And a lot of times we kind of go with the obvious visual, oh, mural, a walking tour, fixing up a street. But I think the idea of creative placemaking and having a pride in your community is also celebrating the characters and the history. And so that I think there's also an aspect of performance that can be considered creative placemaking. Because one thing I like about this Grandman character is he's done with a lot of love. It's not that you're poking fun of this area. You're just sort of capturing the unique spirit. And I think people really have come to love that character because if you've lived here, grown up here, you can relate. But I've had people who don't even live here. You do it so well that you can understand it, even if you're not.
There's a general comedy underneath it, and then the details are for the locals.
Yeah. So, I have a question. You put up that photo the other day. How are you feeling? You can go to the Grandman page on Facebook, by the way, and see the videos. I didn't know, what was the chef guy? Was it there's Prefer's Pizza, but then there was another, it looked like, was that Kaltenbach's? No, there was
the little chef guy. No, National Bakery.
Oh, that was the only one I didn't know. All right.
My cat's making very loud noises.
Okay. I'm going to switch you over to Spotlight, and if you just want to sort of expand on Scranman, you don't have to do a voice, but maybe just how you came up with the character, or you could do whatever you want. You only have, I'm going to try this now. Okay. Right.
My cat's throwing up.
Oh, if you want to go look at the cat throw up, that's fine too.
That's great. All right. So we're in Spotlight.
Yeah. So you should see me.
Yeah. So Scranman started because there's a filter on Snapchat and it looks funny. And that really is how it started. But then people liked it. So people said, can you do that again? Because I did reference Scranton things in the first one. I talked about the Grump. And who doesn't love the Grump? Best mascot ever. Take that, Champ. Champ is the current mascot. But anyway, yeah. So people wanted, like, every time I'd go out, the few people I saw were like, "Oh, can you do that again?" And I started doing it. And then Snapchat got rid of the filter, so now I have to rent it every time, which is bizarre that you can rent a weird filter. But it's great. And yeah, I don't. What I want to make sure is, it is low hanging. Everybody's like, "Oh, how come you don't talk about how this place sucks or the taxes?" I'm just like, that already. That is, that is easy picking, low hanging fruit. And if you want that, go do it. It doesn't take too much to go online and find something like, I hate the blah, 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 blah. Like, and so I want to do something. I want to just do positive things I like about the area and that we can all laugh about. Whatever. I just want to do things that, because I do like this area and I know lots of other people do. And yeah, it has problems, but every place does. So I just thought, what I like is that it has an identity that I want to be celebrated. You can't just buy an accent or a lexicon. That just doesn't happen. It has to develop over time. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my cats. Yeah, it takes place over time. It takes history. That just doesn't happen. And so there's not every place in the United States or the world has that. And so we're very fortunate to have this weird thing that is us. And I think it should be celebrated, just like everybody knows the Brooklyn accent and the Chicago accent and how they have identities, or Boston, wherever. Scranton has it. And when Gawker had their worst accent in America contest, Pennsylvania was the only state to have 3. In fact, Pennsylvania was the only state to have more than 1. And we had 3, Philly, Pittsburgh, and Scranton. And it came down to the final 2 is Pittsburgh versus Scranton. Pittsburgh beat us. And the Pittsburgh accent is bizarre. I can't do it. That's an accent I wish I could do. I can't. But yeah, so I just want to celebrate that and all the weird little words. And, you see people pass it around like, oh my God, my grandmother used to say this or whatever it is. Yeah, so that's how it came about. And
I like how you said that. It takes history. So it's that idea of creative placemaking. You are celebrating your place and you are reimagining it from a standpoint of pride. I think that's
I think it should be celebrated. I mean, it's funny because dad loves it. And I remember, like, dad growing up, all the kids in the alley coming in, they're like, "Oh, I bet him in a race." And dad would be like, "You beat him." Dad was an English teacher, poetry and all that.
Oh, you just learned, you and your friends since people are hiking a lot, the picker, pricker, whatever.
Blew my mind. I never in my wildest imagination knew that we say that different than other parts. And the other day I was watching a movie and the guy's like, oh, watch out for the prickers. I'm like, he said prickers. I never even like, it just never occurred to me.
Yeah, we grew up picker bush,
You
not
say
pricker.
pickers and picker bushes. Yeah.
Oh,
And Jess and Heather, who are not from here, say prickers because they're from Long Island, New Mexico.
very interesting.
Yeah, it blew my mind. I was like, this is great. Another one.
To do the dance party that was another tribute.
Panked?
Or panked. I love that word.
I know a couple people have told me that they didn't know that pank wasn't a word until like they left the area and they're like using it. They're like,
that's
pank
funny.
it down.
Yeah.
They're like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You pank it down. You're just your hair's sticking up. Your mom panks it down in the back. It's school photo day. You got to pank it down. You don't want to look like alfalfa. Don't be leaving the door looking like alfalfa.
You
Put your
panked your
clip-on tie. Grab one of your father's clip-on ties. I don't care if it's past your crotch. That's actually a true story. Mom and Dad gave me one of Dad's clip-on ties in fifth grade. It was down to my knees. Like it's. There's photos of me, and I have this little mullet, and I've got this tie.
Oh, is that the one wearing that gray suit? No, that tie is really. Is that it, or is it too short?
No, the gray suit one was like a writing contest thing.
Right. Okay. You should bring out that
fifth grade dinner dance. There's a picture of me and the janitor, Mr. McGuire, and like my tie is down to. Remember Mr. McGuire?
Yeah, that's funny. I do. He was a good teacher. Wait, was he? Yeah.
He was the janitor, the old guy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There was a Mr. McGuire. Okay. Yeah, I do now that you
Oh
say
yeah,
that.
there was another Mr. McGuire. Yeah.
Well, Connor, I want to thank you.
No problem.
It is live, but it's always nice to talk to you, even if it isn't.
Yeah.
So I just want to make one statement. So the reason we're doing this,
Free Hong Kong? Is that the statement? Oh, you're gonna get political on this.
we can't get political. We are neutral. I'm kidding.
I play Animal Crossing on the Switch.
Yeah.
And now China has banned all Chinese people. You can't play with people from around the world. You can only play with people inside China because somebody wrote Free Hong Kong in the game.
We are really lucky, kind of like what you were saying. Scranton has its problems and US has its problems, but I just read a book on the history of the Constitution and there were problems there.
As you do.
But what? Well, everyone talks about the Constitution, but I'm like, has anyone actually read it or understood it? So I think
it's good to have a strong constitution.
Right, that's true. I mean, certainly there were horrible things, slavery, obviously, but as a document for its time and how it's held up, it's quite moving.
Oh, yeah.
I brought that up because there are other countries who don't have that.
Crazy.
No. Yes, you can play Animal Crossing with anybody.
I can play with someone in Finland if I wanted to.
So what I was saying is, we started this new series because we unfortunately are having to cancel a lot of our social outdoor festivals and events and other things that we would hire. We really believe in paying artists and history lecture, whatever, cultural producers for their work because it is valuable. It takes time and talent and energy and travel and practice. So we are sponsoring a new series called Lackawanna Arts and Culture Live, which will appear hopefully streaming on Wednesdays from 7 to 9. We are still taking applications. We have 30 already. We may have to go to 2 days a week, but for now we're going to do 3 performers on Wednesdays. If you would like to apply, we are still taking them. You get a $75 stipend for 30 minutes. You could be a visual artist talking about your work, doing a demonstration. You could, obviously, we have a lot of musicians applying. You could trivia. There you go. Art. See, you could. Oh, look at that. Is that you and Jess?
Me and Jess and Hank walking down.
And Hank, that's adorable. See, you could talk about your cartoon process.
Yeah.
Your doodle process. I know it often starts with doodles, just like or you could just come on and do that. Experimental art is welcome as long as it's something I don't want to say G rated, but at least PG-13. Performance art. Also history and heritage lectures. We have a couple of those. I'm excited. Stephanie Longo, who's an expert in Italian history, because unfortunately St. Ubaldo is canceled.
I wasn't even thinking that. That's right. I don't even think of all the things that keep coming up. I'm like, oh my God, that's right.
She's going to come on that week and talk about the history of all the Italian festivals.
Yeah,
So,
great.
um,
I couldn't believe.
yeah.
Did you see? I found the Naog brick, and
Oh, I saw that.
and then there was all the responses of like everybody has a connection to this brick and the
Oh,
history of the village of Naog, which was just outside Dunmore. I guess the land is now part of Dunmore, underneath 80, where the bridges of 84 are.
okay.
Bernie McGurl gives, of course, an entire history of like the shale in the area and why it was chosen, things like that. But
That would be kind of fun to just read. Yeah, I have to go back and look at those. But you just gave me another idea. You know, as people are exploring their neighborhoods, that might be kind of a fun thing to have people like
find out the history.
see what they've discovered, or
Yeah.
like little. Because yeah, we are taking more time to walk in maybe places that we just drove
Oh, yeah.
through, pay attention to. Okay, so you can find the application for the performances on the Lackawanna County Arts and Culture page, or you could email us directly at arts-culture@lackawannacounty.org, and we can get you the Google application.
He's gonna get to the Google. Bonnie, what's the Google? I want to watch that Maureen girl. What's the Google? Sorry.
Well, I don't want people to be sick of me. Another thing we're going to start is a Tuesday art talk next week. That would be short, just to kind of update people on different things. We did start a creative guide for resources for artists and creative businesses and nonprofits, just because it can be confusing and overwhelming about what's out there. So that was our first project. We're going to be talking about advocacy, because that'll be important. And again, a lot of people are doing live programming, so we encourage you to check out all the things that are going on the web, and maybe we'll do a program on that. So anyway, thanks for your time. If this is actually working, and thank you, Connor. It's been fun. I always have fun with you. All right, stay healthy, safe, and creative. Bye-bye.
All right, be cool.
All right. Bye. Okay. And